Welcome to Divine Therapy Inc. As we enter this 30-second sanctuary, I invite you to find a place of absolute, unyielding stability. Imagine you are standing in a mountain forge, where the air is thick with the scent of iron and the heat of a determined fire. Feel the weight of your own body, the density of your bones, and the raw strength in your hands. Take a breath that is deep, metallic, and resolute, a breath that claims your space in the world without apology. Today, we are discussing self-integrity and the mending of the inner contract. We are talking about the broken vows, those moments when you betrayed your own values, when you lied to yourself, or when you abandoned your own dreams to please others. This is a story for those who carry the heavy shackle of self-mistrust, for those who feel like frauds, and for anyone who has forgotten that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with your own word. This is the story of a man named Kalen and the anvil of the self. In a city of mirrors and shifting sands, where the people changed their personalities as easily as they changed their clothes, there lived a man named Kalen. In this city, the highest virtue was adaptability. The people prided themselves on being whatever others needed them to be. They promised everything to everyone and meant very little of it. Kalen was the most successful chameleon of all. He was a man of 1,000 faces, a man who could charm the birds from the trees and the gold from the pockets of kings. But Kalen had a secret that was eating him alive. He no longer knew which face was his own. The psychological weight of this self-betrayal was a crushing, internal hollow. Kalen suffered from the ghost of the vow, a persistent, haunting feeling that he had left the real version of himself behind in a dark room decades ago. Every time he broke a promise to himself, to start that project, to speak his truth, to leave that toxic situation, a small piece of his internal foundation crumbled. He felt like a man built of smoke. Because he couldn't trust his own word, he couldn't trust anyone else's. He lived in a state of existential fragility, terrified that one day someone would ask him a question that required an honest answer, and he would find nothing but an empty echo inside. He was a man with 1,000,000 friends but not a single witness to his true soul. One evening, while looking into one of the city's many mirrors, Kalen's reflection didn't move when he did. The reflection stayed still, looking at him with eyes full of a cold, ancient disappointment. The reflection spoke, not with Kalen's charming voice, but with a sound like iron grinding on stone. "You have sold your throne for a handful of dust," the reflection said. "You have broken every contract you ever made with your own heart. You are not a man, you are a collection of echoes. If you wish to breathe again, you must find the blacksmith of the broken vow." Kalen fled the city of mirrors. He traveled past the shifting sands and into the iron mountains, where the ground was black and the air vibrated with the sound of hammers. In a cavern illuminated by the orange glow of a massive hearth, he found a woman with skin like soot and arms that looked like they were forged from the mountains themselves. She was the blacksmith of the broken vow. "I am a hollow man," Kalen sobbed, falling to his knees. "I have lied to myself so many times that I don't exist anymore. My word has no weight. My promises are water. How do I become solid again?" The blacksmith didn't offer him comfort. She handed him a heavy, rusted chain. Every link in the chain was etched with a date and a memory. Every time Kalen had said, "I will," and then didn't. Every time he had said, "I am," and then wasn't. The chain was miles long, dragging behind him like a leaden tail. "This is the weight of your broken integrity," the blacksmith said. "You think you can just forgive yourself and move on. But trust is not a feeling, it is a structure. You have demolished the house of your character. To live again, you must take these broken links, melt them down in the fire of your own regret, and forge them into something new. You must become a man of the anvil." She showed Kalen the forge of accountability. She told him that to mend the trust with himself, He had to stop making big promises and start making tiny vows. He had to promise to wake up at a certain time and do it. He had to promise to speak one honest sentence and do it. He had to take the raw, painful iron of his past betrayals and hammer them into the steel of a new discipline. Integrity, the blacksmith said, is the alignment of your thought, your word, and your action. When these three are one, you are unbreakable. When they are divided, you are a ghost. You don't need the world to believe you, you need you to believe you. Kalen spent 12 years in the Iron Mountains. It was a brutal, stripping process. He had to face every lie he had ever told. He had to sit in the heat of his own shame until it burned away the chameleon skin. He spent hours hitting the anvil, repeating his own name until it sounded like a solid object. He practiced the sacrament of the weighted word. He learned that a no spoken with integrity is more holy than a yes spoken with a lie. He learned that the most difficult person to look in the eye is not an enemy, but the person in the mirror. As he forged his new character, Kalen felt a sensation he hadn't felt since childhood: weight. He felt solid. He felt rooted. He no longer felt the need to charm or perform. His voice lost its honey and gained its gravity. He realized that his self-mistrust had been a form of spiritual poverty, and his new self-integrity was a wealth that no king could take away. He was no longer a collection of echoes, he was a single, resonant note. Eventually, Kalen returned to the city of mirrors. But he didn't change his face. He walked through the streets as a man of iron. When people tried to pull him into the old games of shifting sands, he stood his ground. He spoke with a clarity that cut through the city's illusions like a hot blade through wax. He didn't promise much, but what he promised, he delivered. He opened the school of the anvil. He taught the chameleons that their adaptability was actually an abandonment. He showed them how to find the primal vow, the one promise they had made to themselves before the world told them who to be. He taught them that mending a broken vow is not about being perfect, it's about being honest when you fail, and having the courage to get back to the anvil. He became the architect of character, a man who proved that the most beautiful thing a human can build is a word that can be trusted. If you are watching this today, and you feel like you have lost the trust of your own heart, if you feel like a fraud, because you keep breaking the promises you make to yourself in the dark, please know that we see you. We know the crushing hollow of self-betrayal. We know the exhaustion of the chameleon life. We know the fear that you are nothing but a series of broken contracts. But at Divine Therapy Inc., we want to remind you of Kalen's discovery. Your integrity is not gone, it is just unforged. You are standing at the heart of your own redemption. You do not need to be perfect to start. You just need to be real. You need to take the rusted links of your past and put them into the fire. What is one tiny vow you can make to yourself right now? Not a grand life change, but one small, microscopic promise that you will keep in the next hour. Imagine yourself now, standing at that massive anvil with Kalen. Feel the heat of the forge. Look at the reflection in the iron. Don't look away. Take the hammer of your intention. Strike the metal. I am here. My word is my bond. Take a deep, metallic, and solid breath. Feel the strength returning to your foundation. You are not a ghost. You are not a lie. You are a blacksmith of your own soul, and you are forging a character that will stand long after the sands have shifted and the mirrors have cracked. Thank you for trusting us with your journey through these 32 stories. May your word be heavy, may your heart be solid, and may you always have the courage to stand by the person you promised to be.